Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Africa. Hello, the rest of the world. This is your boy, Dr. 96, aka the realist. The best thing you can do to yourself is to be real. Be real to yourself at all time and always be yourself and do yourself. Don't be intimidated by anything at all. Always express your natural self. That is the best way to enjoy life more abundantly. As I always reiterate, be at peace with yourself. Before I proceed on, my name is Dr. 96, aka the realist. Being real to ourselves is the only way we can guarantee true and genuine happiness. We got to love ourselves before others who love us. Love yourself first. That is the principle of good and healthy lifestyle. It is my joy this morning to reflect on issue relating to my dear country, Nigeria. I want to use this opportunity to pass a serious message to Nigerian youth, most especially the educated ones who bent on voting for Buhari for re-election. I'm surprised that some young intellectual Nigerians could be so gullible and could be so myopic and mentally paralyzed to the extent of committing their future to a man who could not even guarantee their present. When someone like Showore and the rest of the young, vibrant, and energetic intellectual candidates, when they came out, the society stereotyped them by labeling them not experienced. Is accumulation of failure and experience to be counted on? It is such a pity. Now the reality is down. When people like Showore came out and a lot of activists that things are not working in Nigeria, that Nigeria is not an organized or a structured country, a lot of people objected their view vehemently. A lot of people reject the ideology of the young, vibrant candidates based on the impossibility. Now, the incidence of coronavirus has made it clear that some countries are truly cared and they are after their well-being and they cherish the existence of their citizens and all the dwellers. When we were telling Nigerians, most especially those of us in diaspora, that people are not living life back home, that things are not supposed to be the way it is currently. People just insult you for no just reason. In fact, a friend of mine that I consider to be rise in nature back in those days, I was surprised the way he became an unrepentant supporter of Muhammadu Buhari based on religious sentiments. Well, that is none of my business. It takes exposure sometimes for one to really understand the reality. I don't blame a lot of people in Nigeria back then, because when you tell them that this is how things ought to be, they don't believe. Sin is believing. Sin, exposure, experience is the best teacher. You can hardly believe or trust anything you've not physically engaged with. Now, it is obvious that the leadership in Nigeria and most of the African countries are completely disorganized. We are living in continents, Africa, where the leaders don't even care about the masses. Now we see what is going on around the world. A lot of countries, when the burden of coronavirus is becoming unbearable, some countries like America, Canada, Australia, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, to mention but a few, they shut down their system completely just to reduce the magnitude, the extent at which the virus is spreading. They do this in a way to protect the life of their citizens. And they don't just adopt a policy, they don't just jump into conclusion of shutting down the system. They've already made provision for every documented citizen and immigrants. They have already structured a plan on how to reduce the burden. Countries like America, Canada, and the rest of the world, they are giving money to their citizens. Stay at home for this period. You're not going to work, but your existence, your living, your feeding, your welfare is a priority. And this is the structure on ground. This is the provision on ground. So it is very easy and logically for the people to adhere to the instruction of staying at home. Our irresponsible government in Africa, they want to adopt the system, the strategy, the techniques of a working system. They are saying people should stay at home. People should stay at home in a country where more than 100 millions of the citizens could not even afford 2 square meals without crisis. Things are going on well. The situation is normal in the country, Nigeria. A lot of citizens could not even afford more than 1 meal a day. Now, you want them to stay at home. That is automatic death sentence. You want people to stay at home without provision? Won't they eat? I watch with a lot of sober reflection, with a lot of sympathy and empathy for market women in Lagos when they are expressing their grievances and when they are voicing their opinion that it will be very difficult for them to stay at home because majority of them, they are the breadwinner of the family. Most of them, their husbands are not functioning. They are the one taking care of homes. And a lot of them said that things are working normal. They are coming to market on daily basis. They could even hardly feed themselves and their family. Now that you want to shut down the market, how do you expect them to survive? How do you expect them to live? So we should copy policy, strategy based on standard, not just copy and paste policy. Before you do what others do, try to look at what they have put in place. Try to look at the structure, the foundation, for you to just adopt it or copy it. You don't just copy strategy, you don't just copy policy, you don't just take a plan without proper consideration, without proper and adequate restructuring things. However, though the government at all level, the federal government and the state government, they meant well for people by advising or by making a law that they should stay at home. But in the real sense of it, judging from physical reality in the country, it will be very, very difficult for people to abide. It will be very difficult for people to stay at home hungry. So it is better the federal government, if they are going to start sharing food, I wonder how much they are going to commit this period. I wonder how they can properly avert this problem. A country that could not even feed internal displaced people conveniently, then how do we take care of the masses when we restrict them to their homes? So it will be very difficult. It's like a death penalty. It's like creating more burden. It's like creating more problem to the existing problem which the masses are struggling with. The governors, the president, the senators, the chairman of the local governments, and the political elites in the country, they are not going to feel the burden. They have everything. But what is the chances? What is the proximity? What is the probability of an average Nigerian who could not feed himself or herself without going out on daily basis? How do such one live? So definitely, if the virus don't kill people, you are subjecting people to a condition whereby hunger will cause a massive devastating effect in the life of people, in the life of people. Now, we have been exposed, our leaders have been exposed that they don't really understand how government is being run in the 21st century. So to those youth, I'm advising you against 2023. You've all made mistake. At present, the mistake seems to be irreversible, but by 2023, we have another chance to restructure, to choose the kind of present and future that we want. This is a complete failure. That reminds me, when Trump, American president, when he called Africa a shithole continent, a lot of us, we are very aggressive, we are throwing tantrum, but in the real sense of it, Africa is a shithole country. I'm an African, a proud African. I'm proud of my skin. I'm proud of my texture. I'm proud of the color of my hair. I'm a real proud African. If there's opportunity to come to this world again, I will come as a black man. But our leaders have failed us. Let us all come to terms with reality. Trump statement is 100% justified and completely accurate. We have shit all leaders. Let me say, instead of saying shit all countries, let us refer or correct Trump impression that Africa is not a shit all place because God has blessed us with enormous resources. But we have shit all leaders. We have rubbish, stagnated. We have complete failures as our leaders in Africa. That is why we are passing through this horrible situation. So I'm calling on African youths. Please, it is the time that we have to come in time with reality that Africa as a continent is still far behind the modern world. We are still living in the Stone Age because our governments, our leaders, they don't care about us. They don't have any provision for us. In China, when the coronavirus began spreading at an alarming rate, the government of China restricted people to their homes, and people are getting their daily stocks. People are getting food directly supplied to their homes. Can we do such thing in Nigeria and many of African countries? We can't do that. The wife of Mr. President, in his normal and consistent hypocritical manner, he voiced out her voice. She voiced out her voice this period that the country should be shut down. If the country should be shut down, do you think people have food to eat? More than 50% of Nigerians are living below $1 a day. So when you shut down the country, how could they eat? What provision has your husband and his cabinet, what provisions have they made for the citizen to stay at home? We just have to continue to beg God to have mercy on us. So, leaders in Africa, you've all failed. You've all failed. And posterity will not forgive you all if you don't learn from this crisis. The essence of problem, the essence of criticism is to be able to come out better. Failure is not a stigma. You've all failed, you are African leaders, and it is good, in all honesty, that you should all accept your failure and endeavor to do the right thing. Before it is too late, for the sake of posterity, please do the right thing. Let us have life in Africa so that we will be respected all over the world. Until we start living in Africa, that is when we will be respected all over the world. It is not a cause to be a black man. Black is a good heritage. Black is a blessing. But our leaders need to change their way of life. It doesn't profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul. This is just my message this morning, that our youths who have decided to commit their present and their future into the hand of ancestors, their grandfathers, they should start having rethink of mind that their grandfathers, the octogenarian politicians, they don't really know what government is all about in the 21st century. So they should have a rethink of mind comes 2023. May the Lord protect Africa. May the Lord have mercy on us. May the Lord, in His divine and infinite mercy, help us to take this plague away from Africa and the rest of the world. Thank you. God bless you. Once again, this is your boy, Dr. 96, aka The Realist. Peace.